for everybody who gets to join tonight and find out about wands, using them, making them, destroying them, or laying them to rest. And since it's only 6:02, I'm going to give you guys a quick, like, whoa, what the hell? My sister is here, the witch we always talk about, and she can't make it usually. And because it's a holiday, this is Sister Witch. Yay! Now, I know most of you have heard the story about somebody doing a spell and really messing with nature and getting a massive storm. That's the one right there. She accidentally, caused a massive storm in the Midwest because she was new. It's okay. That's okay. But it's one of those things you live and learn, and you really know your power once you exert it. And then you're like, I'm not going to do that again.
Ever again.
Ever. So changing the plans for millions of people, probably. It's
not a good idea. Yeah, Don't do it.
Just a small blizzard. It's fine. Also, she could have a good trip. Okay, so we're at 13. That's awesome. And we're at 6:03. So I am going to give people 2 minutes to get in, and then I want to start because I feel like this is a big topic and I could probably go for 2 hours on it, honestly. But you guys know I want to keep it short and sweet and then allow you all to ask questions after about 6:25. So I'm going to bounce around with ideas. Kat being our newer witch here, and this is Sister Jolene Witch that, she hasn't been here often. So if she wants to add anything in, she'll also be here for kind of insight and questions. But, and I only brought a few examples because, again, this topic can get massive. The options out there are endless. And I love what people come up with right now. It's really exciting that there's all kinds of new tools that people create for others to buy, or even the ideas to make your own. Like it's just such an exciting thing. I will warn you, mine are not that exciting. They're very simple and mundane because I don't use them that often. So if you're hoping that I'm going to show you some elaborate Etsy wand, that is not the case, just so you know. So if you're waiting for that, you should check off. Okay, so we have 13 people and we're at 6:04. So we're not going to wait much longer. Besides new wands, making, breaking, creating, how about the new moon tonight, you guys? For the next 3 days, new moon is in Virgo. And
cheers to that.
Yeah, cheers to the new moon in Virgo. This is a time for health. This is a time for organization. Get your shit right. Clear out your closets, cobwebs, whatever you got to do. This is when your body is really calling to be in tune with physical stuff. Virgo is that sign that's like, get your house right. That's what it likes.
Is that why I've been cleaning around here? And
Probably.
My whole entire lanai, I spent, it was Labor Day. We celebrated Labor Day yesterday, and I worked on Labor Day, and my lanai looks completely different. I got rid of a whole bunch of stuff. I washed things off, and I just feel so much better with the energy out there. I love that space.
That's the Virgo.
And so, yeah.
Virgo's totally ready for that. Okay. I don't have anybody else. Oh, right when I said that, somebody popped in the waiting room. Okay. Admitting one more. Okay. All right. So listen, wands. This is what I love about wands is, first off, wands, brooms, and cauldrons are like witch symbols, right? A lot of times they're misinterpreted as what witches do with these symbols. What does a wand mean for us? And so I want to first go over the purpose in case any of you had ideas that were maybe, or no ideas. Maybe you have no idea why people use wands or why they're important. The history of wands, you guys, a very long time ago, before everybody could actually read and write, obviously people could speak, but they could not always read and write. We drew symbols in the sand. And those ancient priests or priestess of covens, of pagans, of old religions, they all carried really large staffs. You'll see this in I almost said Game of Thrones. That's not it. Lord of the Rings. No. Yeah, Lord of the Rings. Gandalf, right? With his big fucking staff. Sorry. I'm already 2 beers in. Oops, it's a Virgo, man. Celebrating early. All right. Okay. So these big staffs, these were not just indicators of a position, but they were also the early thing that people drew their circles with. When you know, I don't know their old names, but when the old pagans would do their circles, whatever they call their clans, they first drew that circle and whoever was going to be in it with a staff, like with a really large staff. So wands are descendants of a staff. So that just gives you some history into how they were used. They were a tool for directing people and directing energy. So your main focus now as modern witches is to use a wand to direct energy. And that energy is not the wand itself. This one is made of selenite, but the wand itself is not the energy thing. You are the energy thing. And by placing your finger onto this is a direction. It's a tool for directing. Like we write with pencils, that's what wands are. Okay, so that's the first key to know. So that's why any wand you really want to create, as long as you have an even flow that you can direct your energy through, it can be a wand. There's not a bad wand except something with holes or something where the energy wouldn't actually flow straight through. That's when you would have not so great wand. But anything could be a wand if you want it to, as long as it's got that straight connection with a point. So think of it like a pencil, a drawing stick. People make makeup wands and paintbrushes into actual wands that they use for magic. So that's purpose. All right, let me get my cards straight real quick. Sorry, I was going through them before the meeting. There we are, card 1. The second thing that wands are used for, and this would be traditional, more traditional Wicca or pagan practices on your altar, they can represent 2 elements, fire or air. This just depends on who you practice with, but like in the tarot, wands are fire because they're the symbol of transformation. They direct the like pew, 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 pew. I'm changing you. That's how I think of it in my head. If anybody else hears that sound when they're thinking of a wand, like a little Star Wars gun, that's me. That's my sign. That's the fire element happening right then. Imagine like a ray of light is coming out of the tip of this and it's creating a change, which then is a fire. So from fire, the phoenix does rise from the ashes. So that is why it's a fire symbol. And if you're using it to represent fire symbol, you're going to be putting it on the right side of your altar. Now, remember, this is a placeholder. You do not have to do this. This is just a traditional placeholder for a wand. On the other hand, if you want to use it as an air symbol, it's going to be on the goddess side, which is the left-hand side, goes with water. And this is more about the intuitive mental side of us. I connect more with the air side for a couple reasons. A lot of the wands that I like are made of trees of some kind, branches, driftwood, doesn't matter. Whatever I find is a stick actually from trees. What do trees give us? Oxygen. We all get to breathe in their luscious fumes, right? That's how we survive. So for me, it makes much more sense to have the wand related with air when I'm using it. I know in tarot it's fire, but in my actual practice, when I have a wand, I think of it as air because my mental capacity to push my power through to the end of this, that all comes from the internal for me. So that's why I think of it more as an air symbol and because of the trees. So there are 2 ways to represent or places to, there are 2 traditional ways to represent with the wand, and that is for the masculine sign, fire, or the feminine goddess sign as air, and that's just left altar, right altar, if you want to do a traditional altar. If you're like most of us, we're rebel as hell, and we just put stuff wherever we feel like it goes. That's called, I do what I want. That's the kind of witchcraft we practice. That's why we're not a religion. We are just spiritual. So that's with wands for purpose and placement. The last thing with, I sort of touched on it, but the last thing with it is when you find something that feels like a wand that you're like, oh, wow, that would make a really awesome wand. Go with that connection. Every wand that you either buy, order, pick up, make yourself, it should feel that way to you. You should immediately go, yeah, no, I feel like I could definitely like zap somebody into oblivion with this, even though that's not what we do. But there's this feeling of like, all of a sudden you are powerful with it. It's a feeling that you get. So have a personal connection with whatever you make your wand with. You should feel personally connected with it. Don't buy it because it's pretty. Don't buy it because your friends like it. Don't buy it because there's a sale on Etsy. Buy it because you really have that personal connection with it. That's all of purpose for me. That's what I wrote down for purpose with wands. Okay. I do have my cards mixed up. You guys can add in anytime while I stumble. It's cool. It's cool.
Well, speaking of things, so I brought something for show and tell, you guys.
Oh, yay.
Because I found this really cool stick. I don't know if you guys can see it.
You got to get way up there. We're far away because we're 3 now.
So this is something I found in the park, and it's got like this little air plant on it. And when I saw it laying on the ground, I was like, oh, that is the coolest thing for a wand. So I kept it, and I think it works as a wand because it's got a little point thing, but I just love it. I kind of want to like spray it or something to preserve it. I'm not really sure what to do with it yet.
All right, we're gonna get into creating. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All
okay.
Right. But anyway, so that's just off the ground from the park, which that spoke to me. So I brought it home.
All right. Well, I'm really glad that Kat went into that because creating is definitely one of the next things. And I have 2 cards on that. And this gets into all the things you can imagine. This is why the topic can be extremely large. Okay. But I will give you the best tip that I can. When you are picking something to be your wand, there is one general rule. And you know, we're not about rules, but there is one general one. It needs to be pretty straight. All right. So this is actually a basil plant that I grew for about a year. And they only last so long, especially in the Florida heat. But basil, as you know, is a magical herb used for protection and blessings. And so I thought that it was so cool that this turns into a really woody herb. I mean, I'm not going to try to break it, but it's really strong. So this could work as a wand. And all I would have to do is add to it a quartz at the top, however I wanted to. And this is in the creation of it. This is how you can take things that you find that you're connected to. Is if you're out on your wood truck, if you're out doing a spell and then something grabs your eye, like whatever happens to you in nature, you can connect these things together to make your own personal wand. There's nothing wrong with this. Remember, I know a lot of people are worried about what's right, what's wrong. This is 100% okay, as long as you're using it in a way that directs energy into the good. So I've got this super tiny weird quartz that I brought as an example that I've not connected because I don't use wands often. I use a lot of just mental power for my stuff. Wands were something in my earlier days because they felt good. It felt good back then to direct energy. Now I can do it better with my mind because I've practiced, but that's it. This is literally an herb I grew. It turned woody and died. I collected it, chopped off the top. It's still sort of got a root end on it. I've got a clear quartz that I've ordered from somewhere. I have so many, I can't remember where they all come from. And this would be a clear candidate for, I'm going to create a wand this weekend because that's what I want to do. For other elements, my husband, crazy enough, used to be a rose farmer up in Iowa. So he knows roses, like crazy stuff about roses. And I could never grow anything before I really met him. Like my plants died pretty early. So he grew this rose and the stick of it is just incredibly beautiful to me. Like these thorns, I would obviously wrap it in a way that I wouldn't actually get poked, but I've saved this for about 2 years thinking that one day I want to create something out of this thorny rose limb, stem, branch. A branch is a tree, call it what you will. And because it has meaning to me, it was a bush that my husband picked out, knew for a long time. And when he trimmed it, he's so cute. He's not a witch at all. He was actually raised Christian, but he always saves stuff for me. And he's like, you might like this for your witchy stuff. I'm like, that is so sweet. Thank you. I really appreciate that. So I have this crazy thorny, and the thorns are like, oh, they're real. Okay. And with roses, this would be self-love. Everybody could always use self-love. So I never miss an opportunity to do something with self-love. And that's what a rose branch stem, I guess it would be a stem if you take it off the plant. I don't know. It sounds weird to call it a stem, but it came from a bush. Anyway, you know, tomato. All right. The next in making, I don't know how many people really like the fairy aspect or like the very enchanted side of witchcraft where it's lots of flowers and light and love and like woodsy dwarf, troll, fairy, all of that. I love that side so much. The summer months are the perfect time for that. And what grows in the summer months are a lot of the wild grapevines, especially in Florida. We have muscadine grapes that grow like crazy. You can have kudzu, which makes a really good jam, I've heard, actually. I just learned that in North Carolina. And if you are able to collect vines and let them dry, you can braid them. And it's things like this, where as long as you can bind them, this is just a damn hair tie, honestly, because I never finished this.
Damn hair
it's tie. A damn hair tie. I just wanted it to stay together. But as you braid this and you make it your own, so my end is kind of wildly and crazy, but if you're looking for a wand with purpose during like Beltane, which is May 1st, this is time for love and the Beltane. This is my sister's holiday because she's a May baby. But Beltane is that like love, spirited fairy, forest creature, like really getting out there. When you have something that's from that time, you are invoking that same spirit wood life element when you make it from that time. So this is from the growing season of this past summer. And I had intended on making a fairy wand out of it because I have a fairy garden that I'm working on very hard that I'm always distracted and it's not coming together. So I thought if I add an element for the fairies, like multiple things, it would help motivate me. Obviously not, it's still sitting here undone, but there's always hope for next year. This would be something where you can braid vines and it's much lighter. And as long as, so you can kind of see my curve, all you have to do with vines is put them in water and straighten them out, tie them to another stick, like this would be it, let them dry again. And this thing would totally flatten out and become a straight wand. Because again, you do want straight. That's important. If you have a crooked wand, every time you go to do your energy shifting, you're going to have to like curve it, you know, like on that movie with Angelina Jolie where she's like, yeah, curve the bullet. I can't remember what that movie is. But Wanted. Yeah. All right. Not, you know, it's movie stuff. Don't try to do magic like that where you're like, hit the curveball. Try to make it straight so that you can immediately affect the thing that you're doing. So a lot of this is, all right, first off, do we love birch? Does everybody love birch? Birch is an amazing tree. Oh my God. It peels off like paper. So I went hiking in Michigan last year and I found this crazy piece of a birch tree. And I'm like, this is going to be my wand one day. It's more like a beat somebody over the head with it thick. Like I've never seen one this thick, but I do have a crystal that will eventually go on there. See, I have the whole thing set out. I'm just procrastinating because that's fun. Oh, sorry. So just a big quartz that I'll end up putting on the top of that can become my wand, but I just haven't done it. We're not going to talk about my procrastination at all today, but it's happened. All right. Lastly, for elementals of stuff you just find that you're doing. I live by the ocean. I go to the beach all the time. Driftwood is my life. I love driftwood. I'm always looking for it. And I found this incredible little tiny piece of driftwood. And when I picked it up, it literally fits in my palm. And I'm like, you are meant for me in every way possible. So this would be a travel wand. I've taken this piece of stick. It's not a true wand because I didn't actually tell it was yet, but I've taken this driftwood with me to a couple countries where I've traveled because it felt like home. So when you have that personal connection with an element that you've picked up, you're on the right track. Like there should be a feeling that comes with it. That's my crazy driftwood. Lastly, so we've got woods, we've got vines. You can even do stuff that's made out of acrylic. Like, again, there's people who make stuff that's very beautiful as long as it has the essence that you're looking for. But lastly, Selenite makes an incredible wand. You can carve it yourself when you find a piece. All right, everybody see my circle there? The circle is the symbol of spirit when you're looking at the elements. And I just took the tip of this and carved out a point. That's it. It used to look like that on the end. I carved it into that. Selenite for me, I've talked about it in other meetings, but if you're thinking about, if you're thinking about what it looks like to have your crown chakra open and communicating, selenite is what that beam of light looks like. And so for me, it's the perfect wand for communicating with the other side, which is more of what I do, especially through tarot, connecting with my team of light. Selenite is definitely my stone. It's also a stone of the moon and intuition because it's supposed to represent the beams of moonlight. So if you find a stick of selenite, which I gotta tell you guys, you know where I got this?
TJ.
Home Goods.
I was gonna say TJ Maxx.
And like a pack of 6 on clearance. And I was like,
was it blue like that?
Yes, it's stupid blue. I don't like the blue at all, but they rubbed like some kind of chalk on it. I don't know. But listen, people do not understand what this can mean to us. And if you buy stones from Home Goods and it's on clearance, you're winning. You're effing winning. Let me tell you, because all you got to do is come home, cleanse it, repurpose it, and be like, hey, guess what you are now? You are now mine. So we are going to work together. And that's how you have to, it's very simple. So don't feel bad finding deals at Home Goods or TJ Maxx.
Goodwill. The thrift store.
Goodwill. Yes. Well, we're going to get into destruction and gifting wands later, but with stones, selenite is a perfect one if you want to really carve your own. It's super soft. You take I X-Acto bladed this, okay? Like just a little X-Acto blade, just that's what I did, like a little woodchuck, right on that. Okay. Now I've never shown anybody else this. I don't even think my mom and sister know about it, but
do what?
Yeah, I know. This, oh, sorry, I'm way far away. This is my wand from an eclipse, a lunar eclipse, and it is a short quartz, but I went out there specifically and charged it. And what's unbelievable, I don't think I could ever show you it, but there is like a symbol in here that looks like a rabbit. All right, that's how I know it's this one, because I have a lot of really crazy courses, but this has a rabbit on it. And what rabbit means for me is fast action. And this quartz and that specific lunar eclipse was an eclipse from the moon means that you move through phases really, really fast. So for it to have an effing rabbit, and it was for the lunar eclipse, which means moving through phases fast. I'm not into uses yet, but the way that I use this is basically like, you are changed. I just pointed to things and I'm like, I envision it changing fast through the phases. It stays in a secret place more for me because I don't want it to get touched. It's one of my few crystals that I'm like, no, don't touch that. Most other things I'm like, it doesn't bother me too much, but because of this, it's for fast acting. And so because of what I've programmed it to do, anybody who touches it or picks it up or points it at something, I'm like, oh shit, what are you changing? I don't know what you're doing with that. So this is something that I actually programmed as a wand during a lunar eclipse. So this is how stones can become wands for yourself. They don't have to be 12 inches, blah, 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 traditional. It can be whatever you program them to be. And then they know their own soul. They get a new soul. Yeah, I'm going to say that, soul. Sure. Yeah. Okay. All right. Those are my making of them. All right. So I hope that from that, you guys understand that anything can become your wand as long as it's straight. You should have a connection with it. It should have some kind of meaning, or you should work with it until it does have meaning, because you can find a stick in the woods and then you, what's the term for, I wanted to say twiddle, but I don't think that's
Embellish.
it. No, like when you
whittling,
not twiddling, whittling. That's it.
Whitting, yeah.
My mom, the Mariana of Webster.
Marianne Webster.
She's Marianne Webster, not Miriam. Yes.
I have a question since we're on the subject of.
Okay, we're switching, so that's good. Yeah.
Okay.
Tell me.
So I know a lot of times we hear about not using certain types of elements when we're doing spells and things. Is there anything that we should not use when we're choosing a wand, like metal or plastic, or I don't know, is there anything that would be not a good choice?
I love that, because you guys know what we're always focused on, right? People don't involve themselves in spells and rituals because they're always afraid of what they shouldn't do. They don't do anything because there's that fear built into us. I want you to know that really, 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 if your intent is pure, If your intent is something that's meant for good, I don't care what you're using. You do not have to use the ash tree of a grove from England from 1600. There are no rules you have to follow with that, except your own intent and to do no harm. So there are things that boost. There's always things that boost. I've gone with clear quartz and all my stuff because clear quartz is that everything. It mends with everything. Like it doesn't have to be a specific thing. It's the all-in-one encompassing. If I wanted to get very specific, I could find a stone. I could find a tree. I think I posted it to the meetup already, like the tree list. You could go to that extent if you really wanted to. And as you get more serious with your practice, you might really want to. But what I have found is that as we move through our transitions in life, those things are only significant for about a year. And then they don't hold the power that they used to because you're out of that phase. So as you move through those phases, if you were to buy all these specific tools during that one really hard year, that next year when you're out of it, you're going, well, shit, I spent all this money on this. Now I don't need it. I'm working on something else now. I don't need all this tourmaline. I don't need all this fluorite, whatever it is that you're looking for. Taking branches from other places.
I was thinking metals. Or is there anything
all metals
about metals?
No, all metals are from Earth. All metals are good. Obviously I'm an advocate for don't order from China, but
I was going to say the only thing that I would suggest not to use would be anything that would not be recyclable or you couldn't return to the earth.
Well, and most metals, as long as you put them back in the earth, eventually they will break down. Softer metals for sure.
Plastics for sure. I would stay away.
I mean,
acrylic even.
Acrylic.
I would stay away from it.
There are people who do
natural elements.
What's it called? Resin and epoxy stuff.
They're pretty, but
they're beautiful and they preserve, greenery inside of them. When it comes to, I'm going to go into like destroying your wand, breaking it down, recycling it, whatever. Those are things that don't. So it's up to your consciousness. If you feel okay with that, if you know somebody you can give it to and you think it could be passed down over time, hey,
sure,
go for it. For us, we collect things that will eventually biodegrade just like our own bodies. We're not looking to be preserved for ages. We want things that can be recycled because as you put that energy back into the earth, it's recycled for somebody else, for that next new witch that comes up, for that next spell that's needed. So energy can't die. It just gets recycled and placed somewhere else. So yeah, with plastics, I don't have anything plastic or resin. I just don't. It doesn't, if I hold it, I'm going to say a bad word. I hope you're all ready for this. If I hold it, I feel like it's a dildo or a vibrator or something. I'm like, it's plastic and it's shaped like this.
Oh,
I know nobody was ready for that. But
I wasn't even ready for that.
Listen.
Wait a minute. You could repurpose one of those.
Ew, what? You're nasty. Oh, Mom.
Hey, we recycle, reuse, and what's the
reduce, recycle, reuse. Yeah,
it's not all bad.
It actually reminds me, quick story.
Oh, God.
My friend's son who found her vibrator and comes out in front of her friends and like a lightsaber. Yeah. Like, oh no.
The lightsaber dildo. Yeah,
that's what happened.
So on plastics, we don't really.
We say probably not.
I mean,
don't.
Listen, I'm really glad that my mom didn't have any plastic she wanted to pass on to us. That's all I'm saying. There's like a hereditary chain with these things. I'm glad we were involved. So, moving on. Okay, so I went through purpose and creation. I think that use is really, that should be like the next thing. And this is very short because it's best described as a experience. And I can't give you guys the experience. You will have to try for yourselves to know what this feels like. But I will relate it to one thing that all of us know because we are souls in human bodies, and anger is part of the transition that we do as we grow up. So if anybody has felt anger and rage for something, you're on the right path for harnessing energy into a wand, which sounds crazy, but hear me out. Have you ever been so upset that your fist is ready to punch something? You're just like so angry. You could rip something apart. You could punch something. You're just like, you're in destroy mode because your emotion is that strong. That is the lesser emotion compared to what we use the wand for. But because you can know with that, the power that comes over you, what that feels like, it's really, it can equate to what it feels like to harness power for a wand. Now, we've gone through the anger and the transition of that. Now imagine you have just met the most wonderful person ever, and every time you're around them, you light up. Your feet feel like they're floating, like there's nothing that can get in your way. You laugh at other people's plights, which isn't always nice, but we do it. And you just like, nothing can touch you. And all of a sudden you're just like, oh my God, if I could spread this joy across the whole world, that's what I would do right now. My heart is so full. It's bursting to show everybody how effing in love or how effing happy I am. That's the feeling. So when you're using your wand, this is my example. Your wand should feel part of you. It should feel like an extension of your finger. When I talked about the staff being the first wand ever, finger pointing, and the reason why it's bad was because of witchcraft and wands. I don't know if anybody knows that, but when you point a finger at somebody, they believed it had some kind of power. And that was because witches used wands, and they were like, you mofo. They probably said that. But
they definitely said
mofo. And so it was this power that came with pointing somebody's, all their energy, like raise it from your feet out through your chest and then to your arms, and like directing it to a point of like, you do what I say right now. You know, that's the anger side of it. But imagine that in a love side where it's like, I will push all of this forward to create a change that's going to be beautiful and good for all. Like that is the thing that happens. A lot of times when you have something happen in nature, last couple weeks ago, Kat was talking about the spider hanging off the limb and like floating through the air, and she got the tree raindrop on her, and it just all felt really magical. When she was enlightened like that, when her emotions were so heightened, to be like, oh my God, this like feels so awesome. I'm in awe. I'm in gratitude. I love this. My life is so good. Like in this moment right now, there's not anything better. That's what's happening when you're flowing your energy through to your wand to put into magic, to if you want to end a spell with something, it's just a direct, you can say whatever you want. Again, there are no wrong words. Just feel them as holy as you can. But whatever you want to use your wand for, to invigorate, to bring to life something, to say, you know, you can even sound like the Pope. I bless you. You are now a blessed thing in my life. I give you purpose with this thing. Like your wand can direct your energy into something. That's how we use them. And so you may never feel comfortable with this. You might feel super like Harry Potter and be like, this is fucking foo-foo. I don't know how to do this. But as you work with it and you start to really like, it becomes your own magic, right? So for me, no judgment. My mom and sister have not seen me do this. I don't do this in front of people, but my own thing. All right, I'm not embarrassed. I swear.
Here we go. We're being vulnerable here.
I dance with it. So it's a movement of like, there's grace and flow before the pointing happens, because when I move like this makes my whole soul feel happy or good. Maybe I'm a water sign and I'm swimming underwater. Stop staring at me like that. Don't make me pour my wand at you.
I didn't think we kept secrets here, ma'am.
I mean, you know, we don't.
Now you're doing movements without me.
Listen, it's just, there are times when you're in your spell and you're really feeling like just the nature around you or something. And sometimes I have music, sometimes I don't, like meditation type music, but I'll tell you, my soul gets to moving with the vibration of whatever I'm doing. And that's what happens with my wand first. Okay. So it starts to do, I can't just be like, boom, like I'm pressing a key on a keyboard. It doesn't happen for me like that. For me, it's a flow thing at first. And as it builds, like I'm building this energy up for it. And then I'm like, then I wave the wand over it and I imagine all of those good feelings and what's happening. And I see that I'm pointing to the ground and not at you guys, but as I'm moving this like wave of energy through myself and I'm just like really feeling whatever it is I'm doing, then my spell stuff that's out, then I wave my wand over. It's like, all of that just comes pouring out of me. But right at the tip of this, that's what it's for. It's meant to direct your energy into something. And then your wand is not something that has to be treated like it's the spell. It's not the spell. So don't be too concerned with that, where people are like, don't touch it, don't look at it, put it in salt, blah, blah, blah. It's not that. It's you putting your energy through it. So as long as it can channel, it's just a channel for your energy, just like your spell is your intention of your energy and your wishes. And after you do that and you're satisfied, you close up your spell in whatever way that you do. But that is the direction of your energy through that whole thing. You just kind of like, I almost said regurgitate, but that sounds terrible. But imagine just like, I don't know. Again, it's a physical thing. It's hard to, it's a direction. It's like you're just like, everything goes into it and you just release it all into your spell that's on your table, or your fire that you're burning something in because you want to release something, or whatever it is that you're doing. But that's the release thing, and your wand helps to direct it to that exact point, wherever it is that you want it to end up. That's my uses. That's the use part of this. I feel like I should say, are there any questions? But we're going to hold questions for like just another couple minutes. Oh God, it's already 6:40. Okay. That's use. Real quick, the only other thing I wanted to go through was, what if you get a wand and you're like, this is a real POS? In case nobody knows what that means, piece of shit, all right? You didn't connect with it. It never worked for you. You're like, God, I don't know. It's not a Ouija board. Don't be afraid of it, okay? You don't have to hide it in the closet and like be afraid that it's going to come after you later. If your wand does not work for you, you have several ways to get rid of it. You can, if it's stone like this or crystal, you can repurpose it into anything else if you bought it. All you have to do is repurposing, which I didn't write anything for that because that's a whole nother topic, but you treat it like a stone that you just bought and you just give it a new purpose. It's no longer your wand. You're like, I didn't connect with you. It didn't feel right, whatever. If it's elements like the rose, the vine, driftwood, an herb branch that you got, just bury it in the yard somewhere, bury it in a park, bury it where, nobody's going to dig it up for a while. It's going to just decompose in the earth, and whatever you had in it just goes back to the earth. The earth is always a cleansing environment. Return things to the earth that are biodegradable to release your spells, your magical intent, whatever it is. It all goes away from there.
You can also burn it. That's what I did to mine.
You can burn them. Yes. For people who have that, F you.
Yeah, I was not happy at my wand.
Yeah, well,
it did bad things. So I was like, you are going to go to the fire.
Isn't it funny how the wand did bad things, not her? We'll just look at that later.
Okay, it was me.
All right, but she was young and didn't, yeah. No.
I was very young. I was very, very
young. New witch.
Very new witch.
You can absolutely burn the things. Anything that returns them into the next cycle of their being, you can do. So I would not say that you can't do that. I'm more of a bury everything in the earth type person. I don't know where that comes from.
A little bit more dramatic. Just burn it.
Yeah. Or you can be like Dexter and throw it in the ocean in bags or something, biodegradable bags. You can definitely just return it to wherever.
Pieces,
so with things that are made more so, there are a lot of people who make them with like, what's that thing called? Electroforming. And so they got lots of elements on there. Say it's an Etsy wand that you bought. You can break that apart into as many pieces as you can and then return that to the earth. Also keeping the parts that you actually want. Again, nothing is bad. You just are breaking the cycle with the thing that you had. That's it. It's a bad relationship that's over.
One thing that we always do when we are done with something, whether it be crystals that have broken or wands that we're done with, we always thank it. Even items in our homes, books that we're no longer using or clothes that we're getting rid of. We always say, thank you for serving your purpose.
Yeah.
I'm now releasing you on to the next stage of your life and not mine.
You can carry on with your life. You're not in mine anymore. Just like that ex from a couple years ago. Carry on. Okay. That is really, I think, all I have. I am ready to open the floor for questions, comments. This can be about wands. This can also be about anything in general for witchcraft. This is the New Witches Q&A. So if there's anything else you're interested in knowing, understanding that you're dealing with right now that you want to talk about, you absolutely can. The floor is open for that now.
Or also if you guys have other knowledge that we don't know, share. We'd love to know.
Of course. Damn, my sister's really killing it tonight. No, I think everybody can unmute themselves.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure. You all have the power to unmute yourselves. I'm pretty sure. You have the power. Sure. Yes, look, granted. Just kidding. This one's not done, by the way. It's still in works, but.
Questions.
Magically, everybody looks unmuted now. I don't know what happened. Oh no, okay. The screen, all the little red dots in the way, and it looked like everybody was unmuted at the same time. That was kind of wild. But here we are for questions, comments, and knowledge that you want to share with us. Any stories about your own wands that you had difficulties with, that maybe you're sitting on, that you are trying to figure out, or what do you want your wand to be? What do you wish your wand could be? Or maybe like F wands, why can't I just like point my finger and have things happen?
Do you need a wand?
You don't, nope.
Witches need wands.
There are certain spells that call for them.
Yeah. Okay.
It is, remember you guys, witchcraft is what? I do what I want.
Well, witchcraft is you. Yeah. The tools are just things that help you direct your energy. As long as you're not
hurting anybody, it's our only one. All right, questions. And your voices?
Who's on? State your name and tell us what.
State your name.
Yeah. I want to know who's speaking.
I can't tell who's unlocked or who's up. Well, you know what? If nobody has questions, that's also 100% okay. We love to end our meetings on the fact that you don't have questions, which means I kind of did my job tonight. Shit, okay. 2 beers in. All right, thank you. But I'm always available on the app. You can message me if there's anything that you're looking for, want to know, questions, comments. If you don't feel comfortable speaking up today, that's 100% okay. I do not require that from people. This is supposed to be a safe place to learn. You can also safely learn from me through the messenger, which is just you and me and nobody else, if you're afraid of judgment. But other than that, it's a holiday night at 6:45. Who's ready to hand raise?
Hand raise? See
that? A hand raise.
Oh, yes.
Upper left.
Hey, Charles.
Hey.
Hi. Okay, yes. Charles, speak freely, my sir.
My sir.
Yes, the Buckland Massive Book of Confusion. Yes.
What is that?
It's the encyclopedia of
the Witches Encyclopedia.
It's the Bucklands one, which is like, it's just everything. It's 10 years of learning.
It's a bit overwhelming.
It's very overwhelming. It's hard to practice. It's more about you're getting a college education there. What would you like to know, Charles? How can I help you? You're muted.
He's muted.
Ask you to unmute. I can't unmute him. There you go. I think you're unmuted.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I also have this one.
It says Witch.
I don't recognize that.
Yeah, I don't know that book.
Do you have questions about your books?
I've had these for years. And I was wondering if these are actually somewhat on a good side, because I'm picking this back up.
Yay! Welcome back.
Yeah.
Well,
it's been about 20 years.
That's, you know what? It stays alive. There was a flame that never died. Don't worry. So I love that you're asking me if the books are good. Yes, especially the Buckland's book. I've had that book. There's a ton of information. That's what becomes really overwhelming for people getting in the practice. Where do you start? And when people ask me, where do I start with this? I ask them, what do you want? So the really easy question is, what are you looking to change within your own life? Do you just want to honor like the pagan elements of the religion? Lord, somebody just slap me. Not religion. Do you want to just get back to honoring the earth cycles? I mean, because pagan is honoring the earth cycles. That's really, and we call ourselves witches because we do the spells, we invoke different deities when we really have to, not for changing weather elements. But so there's different types of practice that you want to do. If you just want to get back in touch with the cycles, that's super easy. You don't need a book. Go outside as often as you can. Observe what's happening in nature. Sit quietly with yourself. Done. If you want to do spells to change your life and to bring things into it, then you'll need a little guidance from references. How do I do this? What am I looking for? But the words that you have to say are never what you have to say. That's often very misled. Speak from your heart to the universe like it's your best friend. Ask it for what you're looking for. Ask for the signs. Ask for the things that you need. Like you are placing an order at Sonic Drive-In. Like, hey, I'd really like this tonight. Can you just, it probably won't be tonight, but if you speak in that casual manner, you won't get fumbled with words that rhyme, having the correct things, worrying about if you're wrong or not, so it is up to what you're really looking for.
And then also, if you do happen to buy books that you've invested in and you're like, you know what, this just doesn't really resonate with me. There's been plenty of times that I have had books or things that I've read that it just doesn't resonate with who I am personally or what I feel or believe in. Yeah. And I'll gift them away or whatnot. And I'll just say, that's not really for me, but
send it
maybe
on
for the next person.
Yeah. Thank it for its service.
Yeah. Yeah.
Personally, I like to collect them as a library. So reference. So that's what I do. Even if I have a couple books that I bought that I just really couldn't read, but I'm like, I'm not getting rid of them because one day I might be able to read them.
This is true. Yeah, this is true. So I have really old books that I buy from used book distributors that I just think it's cool to see what people wrote 40 years ago compared to what people are writing now and the frankness that comes with it. There was not a lot of frankness 40 years ago. People were more concerned with being politically correct and not being judged or being judged. Versus today, they really just say what they mean. And I love that. One of my favorite new books is the spell book for new witches. I think it's like the green one.
Yeah.
Mom has it.
Yeah.
I love how absolutely frank she is.
Yeah.
And all of the little ideas for her spells, because again, any spell you find from any other witch is an idea. It is not a template you have to follow. Make it your own. If you're calling for some freaking stone that's $30 for a gram of it, F that. Use something else. Use crystal. Use just clear quartz. Like, don't get trapped in the must-haves, must-do. Then you're in a religion. Feel it out and go like, this really connects with me. I really feel like this is meant for me to find. When you have those moments, Charles, like write that down. I'm a big advocate for journaling. This is what I buy these ladies every year. I'm like, journal, come on. Because as you remember what you're going through and you start to watch the signs come in from the universe, your language between you and your team of light, which that means like your people on the other side trying to help you, your team of light, they're like constantly sending you messages and it's up to you on whether or not you get them. And self-doubt is the quickest way to kill that. So if you just accept what you're hearing. You don't have to act on it, but if you accept what you're hearing and you're writing it down, acknowledging it, they're like, oh shit, he's listening. Boom, 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 boom. Your inbox is going to get full on your like daily sites and things that happen and coincidences and whatever. So that kind of helps reinforce your own intuition, I think. Just listening to the stuff that's going on in your life and looking for those synchronicities. That's your team of light trying to get in your head. Like, hey, we've really been trying to contact you for the last 20 years, but your number's been disconnected. So glad you're back now.
Your expired warranty on your car.
We're calling about your expired warranty on your car. You have 3 days to renew.
Yeah.
But I would say as somebody just getting back into it, be kind to yourself. One of the worst things we do is like, we're really hard on ourselves and expect so much. Treat yourself with love and kindness. And I urge you to do something that not a lot of people can do. Go to the mirror every day and tell yourself, I love you. Building a self-love relationship helps the other side know that you respect and cherish the life you have now.
Right.
It's hard.
Self-love is huge.
Self-love.
Okay, you have 2 more hands.
Okay, yes. Hands. Okay.
Hands.
Where's the hand?
Jennifer. We have a hand from Jennifer. Hi. You're in space. Hi,
hello.
Hi.
I don't know if you can hear.
I can hear
you. I have a question.
Sure.
So I'm pretty new to this whole witchcraft thing. I kind of started in 2019, so I'm still new in my journey.
Yeah.
But I have like so many questions, and I'm pretty sure we can't do all that in one night.
Yeah.
But a few weeks ago, because you know how I heard that if someone is trying to communicate with you, that you could hear a ringing in your ear, but that could also be like a medical issue. But like, is that true?
Yes. And in my opinion, yes.
I love your question. All right. I'll tell you this from a half deaf person. I'm only 40, but I swear I'm half deaf. I often hear things really loud when nobody else does. And I absolutely believe that that's spirit trying to alert me to something. And it heightens my senses in a way that I'm like, well, I know I'm actually deaf. So if I'm hearing it, nobody else is, obviously it's something, right? And I go looking for things. So trust it and see where it leads you. If you're having ringing, note the time of day, note what you're doing. It could be alerting you for something that's bad for you or something that's really good for you. It's a sign of some kind that your team of light is specific to you. We are not going to get the same messages that mean the same thing. My ringing in my ears usually means I need to pay attention to something going on in my household, because that's the only place I really, did you just do it? What'd you do?
I was agreeing.
Oh, okay. I thought you did the crazy stuff.
Crazy, but yeah.
But it's, you know, I have a 15-year-old and he's sneaky as shit. And I always got to be on the lookout for stuff he's doing. So when I get ringing in my ears, I'm like, oh, what's he up to? I need it. There's like something happening. So for me, it's a sign for me to get up and go check things out. And we're all in agreement that I probably have a spirit or two in my house. They make a lot of noises. I've recorded them and I'm like, I don't know what you want. What do you want? I don't know. So they don't do anything besides like clink around, like stomp. When I'm downstairs, they're upstairs, they're stomping. I don't know. So follow it and see where it goes. And this is where journaling really comes in. If you're writing your thoughts down, the other side understands what you're perceiving, and then they can I was going to say tune.
Tailor their message.
Yeah, tailor. They can tailor their message to what you are. Hot, cold. So they'll start doing something else for you. And as long as you're picking up on it, everything will get stronger. So be ready for that. As long as you're ready to listen, everything about it will get stronger. Not necessarily the ringing, but it'll lead to the next thing. The ringing is the first step. And
okay, thank you.
All your questions, listen, hit me up on the Meetup app. I don't know, it's just in the text messaging thing. I don't know. That's what I tell everybody. So ask me your questions. This is what I love to do. I started this entire Meetup so that I could help people figure out what they were dealing with. So you're right. It would be hard to get through all your questions tonight.
Yeah.
And then we have Heather. Heather has her hand up.
Hi, Heather.
Hi, Heather.
Hello, everybody. First, I want to say thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you for joining us.
I'm not new, but I love being amongst community. And one of the things I was thinking about when you were talking about the wands was, for me, when I was working with different, things, I got a Dremel tool, one of those small, cheap ones from Harbor Freight.
Yeah,
like $8. Man, that thing is amazing.
Cool. Yeah.
And then I would use like elements of like old clothing to wrap the end with. Also, I've got long hair, right? So it comes out. And if you braid it and you just wrap that into your wand too, then it's part of you.
Sure. Yeah.
But what I wanted to know, I guess, is how, like, wood-wise.
Wood-wise,
yes. What would be yours? You said driftwood for you, right?
Yeah.
That's your favorite. What are some of, like, your sister and your mother's favorite woods to work with, or
you kind of have to go with what's available where you live. So I would love to have aspen or oak. We don't have that here. We've got pine.
We have southern,
and we have southern stuff. So you go out into where are you located geographically?
So I just moved from Kentucky to South Beach, Florida. So
perfect.
Okay. You're way down there.
So all right. So you're in Florida, so you're gonna have access to pretty much the same types of native plants and trees and things that we have here. So I mean, what I've done is go out and take a nature walk.
Yeah.
And look for things that are fallen. Everything I've always read says don't cut down anything from a tree. And then when you take something away, thank the tree for, taking away a branch, but find something native. And that, I think that's your best bet. And then if you visit places.
When you visit places.
So like we're going to Sedona this weekend. We're going to be in Sedona, and I don't know if there's trees there, but I'm definitely going to look for some fallen branches.
We're taking trees. We're taking rocks. We're taking sand.
We're not taking trees. We're going to take branches.
Yeah, but so I would take that opportunity. I think any natural thing that you find. I mean, Jamie had a rose bush, for heaven's sake.
Yeah.
Maybe you have rose bushes in your house, in your yard or something. I don't know. So
going back to what Jay said, which is just finding something that you're drawn to, that speaks to you. It doesn't matter what type of tree it is. If it's sustainable, if it's not going to bend and break, it's all about you feeling it drawn to you. That's it.
Straight.
So there isn't any particular wood in your question.
And you could go into depth with it, but
all right. On the meetup for tonight, I did post a picture from a book as a reference of the is it 12 or 13 Celtic tree months? Oh God, I can't remember. 12 or 13. I'm pretty sure it's 13 because it goes with the moons. And one of them is vine, which is not a tree, it's a vine. But that is, when you get back to traditional stuff, you can go that route if it makes you feel good, if it makes you feel more in touch with your ancestors, because we know where we come from. And one day we'll be going back to Ireland and Wales and Scotland and wherever the hell we're from, Asia, Egypt. I don't know. We got some weird stuff in our 23andMe results.
African.
Yeah, we're part West African. So you go back to these places, and if you want to connect with that side of you, you can really make a wand that's that purpose. And you would normally use it for that thing. You want to connect with your ancestors, and you don't have to use it as a tool. Like I talk about building the energy up and then putting it into something. It can also just be a representation of, here's my ancestral wand, and that's who I want to connect with. That's what's on my altar during this time. So it's a placeholder. It's also a tool. That's your two ways to use it. And you don't have to turn it into something big, elaborate, anything. You can have it as the placeholder on your special place. You can call it an altar, but if you don't do an actual traditional altar, you just put it up where you see it and you're like, I effing like that. And it's here for me. It makes me feel connected to something. It's also always a sign to the other side on what you're trying to do. You bring purpose to your life by putting these things around you that create the vibration for what you attract, right? You're attracting these things in. The birch tree for me was just one of the trees that I knew that people used to make paper out of. And I'm a bookworm. Like, I love books so much. I love the birch tree because of that. It's just an old birch tree.
Can't look at it?
No, it's just fine. But so we are at 7 o'clock. I hope that, Heather, we answered your question a little bit or a lot or all the way. But if you have more, you can definitely hit us up on the Meetup app. You can text Kat.
We won't be here next week. We'll be in Sedona. Sorry.
But I made a new wedding.
Oh, you did it for Thursday, didn't you?
I made a new meeting for witches for houseplants. I thought that could be something super easy for everybody to get to know, understand, learn about.
Is there a meeting this week?
It's Thursday.
Oh, sorry. We're meeting on Thursday.
She's the damn coordinator.
We're going to be flying back from Sedona next Monday.
So. On Monday, but the meeting's on Thursday. So
I
didn't want to know
Thursday plants. So everything you want to know, which is houseplants.
That's too much. Not everything you want to know. It's houseplants for witches. 10 of them. That's it. I can't do every single one, but that'll just be something else to add to it. And I did give it a different time because I know that some of our members have asked for a later time. Monday at 6 p.m. doesn't work right now. We're looking at expanding our times and days possibly. So yeah, that's next week.
Thank you guys all for being here tonight.
Yes, this was great. I hope you guys learned a lot and you're excited about something. If not, just go enjoy the new moon tonight. Just get out there and sit under the blank sky and revel in the newness. this is a time for new health stuff. So anybody who wants to make health changes, this is the
Time
night.
To get back in the gym.
Get in
back
it.
On your regimen.
Get in it.
Eat healthy.
Tap, tap, tap. Eat healthy. Drink at least 1 glass of beer. Just saying.
Keeps the doctor away. That's what they say.
This is the old world water. You know, they didn't drink water. They made ale because that was the only safe thing to drink back then. So. Okay. This was great. Thank you guys. I hope you all have a wonderful evening, wonderful Monday night. I hope you had a great holiday.
Bye, everyone.
And we'll see you next week sometime. Bye.
So.